Everyone, my name is Anna, and welcome to today's message, A Hard Pill to Swallow, from Psalm 41:9. Even my close friend in whom I trusted, who ate my bread, was lifted his heel against me. Now, I just finished reading the book of Kings in the Bible, and I'm on to Chronicles. Well, these two books speak about the genealogy and emphasize the importance of the legacy of many lines of kings, including King David, and the covenant made with him by God, promising his descendants to rule over Israel. And many people skip Kings and Chronicles because it is filled with a lot of names that are hard to pronounce and generations of people, and they just don't think it's as important as other parts of the Bible. But after you read Kings and you understand it, and you'll come to find that after King Jehoram's daughter took over the kingdom when her reigning brother died, she murdered all the male members to secure her own rule. And David's line was nearly extinguished, but it never truly disappeared. And eventually it was restored just as he had been promised. Now, this is incredibly important because this is the line of Jesus Christ. Now, you can read more about it in Samuel, but today I want to share with you that many of the Psalms were authored by David, and they reflect his personality, his worship, and his reflection of the triumphs that he had over adversity. Because he was a faithful servant who relied on God, which you will learn about more in his battle with Goliath, from which he will rise from a shepherd into the king that you hear about. Now that brings me to Psalm 41:9 that I shared with you today. This psalm speaks about pain and betrayal, not just by anyone, but by a trusted friend. This is the anguish of King David when a loyal companion turned against him during a time of distress and turmoil. The idea of breaking bread with someone, eating together in friendship, only to have them betray you, is symbolic of the betrayal of Jesus by Judas Iscariot. He shared meals with Jesus, but if you know the story, even the closeness of Jesus to his disciples, it still brought about treachery. Lack of human trust is incredibly painful and emotional, even today. And it was also true of the same with Jesus. You see, trust is fragile. And even in betrayal, though, Jesus forgave Judas. He loved him, which can seem, honestly, almost impossible at times. Now, you can imagine how hard it must have been for Jesus to know that no matter how much he loved Judas, that he would betray him. An example, which is what Jesus came to show us. The fellowship requires integrity. Personal betrayal is sometimes a spiritual lesson in trusting God, as you saw in the crucifixion of Jesus, so willingly and obediently chosen as part of God's plan and for the salvation of humanity. Now, Jesus knew from the beginning that he was going to suffer and die, be betrayed, and condemned to death. He tells us about it, yet he continued to Jerusalem anyway. My friends, today's message is that sometimes betrayal is necessary and forgiveness is a requirement. Without submission to God, which requires suffering, you can't fulfill God's purpose. Jesus had the power to stop his own death, but he chose to follow through, just like we are given a choice. He chose to follow through to redeem us, to pay the price for our sin. The only way was through his death. The only way. And however excruciating it was, it ended up being the ultimate expression of love. No one forced him to do it, but he knew it was the only way. And in faith and obedience, he made a deliberate choice to give his own life for ours. He loved us so much that he obeyed the Father. He chose to die. Now, there'll be some today who are rolling their eyes at me, saying, is this all she thinks about when she does her messages? Every day a message. Well, let me ask you this. Do you really think that it's all a coincidence? All of it? That the line of Jesus almost was exterminated, yet it survived? That Jesus told parables so Christians could clearly see with the eyes of their hearts. That he called and trained his own disciples, knowing that soon he wouldn't be there. That he could perform miracles publicly, that he could cast out demons and raise the dead. That he was found innocent by Pontius Pilate, who fell to the crowd's demands to crucify him anyway. That the night before he died at the very Last Supper, that he revealed Judas. Do you think that was an accident? Do you think that it was coincidence that he went to Gethsemane, where he cried out in anguish for God to remove the suffering, but still chose to submit? Do you think it was an accident that he was condemned and that one of the two criminals hanging beside him chose faith in the end and one did not? That Jesus, even in excruciating pain, entrusted his own mother to one of his trusted disciples, to John. And how about the 6 hours it took for him to die on that cross? Do you honestly believe that it could all be untrue? And that after it all, he rose, and now 1,996 approximate years later, that we would still be talking about it? Now, I'm not trying to be facetious, but honestly, when someone you know dies, do you think even 2 years later from now, people will still be talking this much about it? None of this, my friends, is by accident. Every moment counts. Now, are you going to continue to lift your heel against your friends, to betray them? It's a hard pill to swallow, isn't it? That it's all necessary for us to be saved. And all of it is necessary now. Jesus was loved through and through. All love. Even when he was betrayed. And it's hard to believe, I know. But even betrayal is part of our plan. You see, Jesus wouldn't have been crucified without Judas. And you can't make it to Jesus without pain and suffering too. The line of David was nearly destroyed. But my friends, God's plan was bigger. And when Jesus did miracles, he told each and every one of them that he didn't heal them. It was their own faith that healed them. Jesus showed us that it is faith that saved us. He showed us that love is the highest form of fellowship that you can have. He showed us that love, my friends, really is the answer. In a world where you could be anything, choose to be love. Love is the answer. If this resonated with you, please like and share my post. If you have a question for Dear Anna, please send it by direct message to our Facebook page. Questions are answered anonymously. And thank you for your donations to My Divine Mission and for helping me to keep my messages alive. I'll see you next time.